Thank you for waiting, ladies and gentlemen. We've invited first class. Now we're inviting executive platinum, emerald, sapphire, and ruby of those boards.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and I'm pleased to welcome back Lee Harris of ATPI Travel. How are you?
Yeah, really good. It's been a good week, other than the quick conversation we had offline about the car breaking down yesterday. But other than that, it's been a good week. Travel-wise, it's a mixed bag. I'm not going to lie. Some good, some bad.
It is coming up to that Christmas season, so guarantee there's going to be a bit of chaos going on. And if anybody is thinking slightly about strike action right around the Thanksgiving long weekend for the U.S., which is coming up, and of course the Christmas season after that is the time to hit it. So let's talk strikes.
Yeah, unfortunately, security staff at Alicante Airport in Spain are continuing with strikes later this month over working conditions and pay. Employees will strike between the 21st, the 24th to 26th, and the 28th of November, the 1st to 10th, the 15th to 17th, and the 22nd to 31st of December. Obviously, expect disruption at the airport, and please make sure to give yourself plenty of time to check in and pass through security. And not to be done, obviously, over in France, they love a good strike there. French air traffic controllers plan to strike today, Monday, the 20th of November. The industrial action will impact air travel at airports around France. More importantly, though, it could also affect overflights using French airspace. So even if you're not traveling to France, if you're traveling over French airspace, you could be also affected today. The industrial action has so far resulted already in the cancellation in advance of 25% flights to Paris, Orly, and Toulouse airports, and 20% at Bordeaux and Marseille. This strike will be the 53rd day of strikes this year by air traffic controllers. For any crew due to travel, obviously today from these airports or via France, please check in with your travel provider to keep updated with your flight details.
And as we always say, it's going to have repercussions on flights around the world because backup happens, people miss flights, it creates chaos everywhere.
It does. It does, yeah, it's right. It does cause chaos. It's the knock-on effect, isn't it, that affects everybody else. So, yeah, all you can do is just keep in contact with your travel provider or with the airline who you're flying with. And hopefully, fingers crossed, anybody who is traveling, they don't get affected too badly.
Yes. Amsterdam had a little kick.
Yeah, so Amsterdam Schiphol Airport has found itself forced to cancel planned capacity cut for next summer. I'm not sure if this is a good thing or bad thing. I suppose it's a good thing if you're traveling from there. The changes were being introduced to reduce the airport's impact on local residents and have now been temporarily suspended by the Dutch government following increasing pressure from both the EU and the US. Plans were underway to cut almost 50,000 flights at the airport in 2024, down from a pre-pandemic high of 500,000. KLM would have been by far the most affected airline, but the impacts were wider reaching too. For example, earlier this month, JetBlue revealed that it was cancelling its Amsterdam services from both New York and Boston. It still remains to be seen if the US carrier will now reinstate the routes. With the planned capacity cut now temporarily suspended, Amsterdam Schiphol Airport will instead focus on other ways to support and promote the continued well-being of local residents. These include a night closure and the banning of both private jets and the noisiest aircrafts.
Wow. So they're going ahead with the banning of private jets.
They are indeed. Yep, that's still in place at the moment. It could change, just like their planned capacity cut. But at the moment, yep, they're still going ahead.
We'll see if it happens. I found in this world, in my few short years on the face of it, that the more money you have, the louder your voice is heard.
Indeed, you can make problems disappear.
Yes, very easily. Heading over to Iceland and their volcano.
Indeed, yeah, this could have a wide-reaching effect on travel, couldn't it? Travelers have been advised to be prepared for a cascade of flight cancellations and delays if Iceland experiences an imminent volcanic eruption. However, weather experts believe the impact will not be severe as the 2010 ash cloud crisis, which forced the cancellation of about 100,000 flights throughout Europe, leaving 10 million passengers stranded when a volcano erupted. Seismic activity and other signs continue to point to an increasing risk for a volcanic eruption near Grindavik, 15 kilometers south of Keflavik International Airport, with the state of emergency declared and the town evacuated last weekend. Now, the Icelandic Meteorological Office said last week that the size and intensity of seismic activity in the region is decreasing, for the Volcanic as an assessment in and around Grindavik has been unchanged thus far. Almost 700,000 passengers were handled by Keflavik Airport in October as Iceland continues to attract greater numbers of travellers. Flights are still arriving and departing as normal at the moment. Meteorologists, though, do caution that there is a real possibility, for a potential impact to air travel over the coming weeks.
It's interesting how travel is really shifting. We're seeing a lot more travelers looking for adventure and experience. It's not so much the resorts on a beautiful island where you can eat the food you eat back home and sit on the beach and swim in the swimming pool anymore. It's real. We want to see the world. We want to know what the world is made of kind of travel.
Yeah, which I think is great, to be honest with you. I love the idea of a visit to somewhere that you would never imagine to go before. That sounds perfect to me, to be honest with you. I don't know why you'd want to travel from one place doing one thing to go somewhere else. All right, maybe slightly hotter, but doing exactly the same thing. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. But it's the same as well, isn't it? If I go on social media, a lot of the posts now, especially with regards to the yachting industry, is about expedition yachts. So it's quite a wide-reaching thing, this whole new, whether it be that you've got millions that you can have an expedition yacht, or whether you're just traveling on a budget and you're going to go to Iceland instead of, I don't know, somewhere else where you can lay on a beach. So yeah, it does. It certainly seems that people have broadened their horizons for travel. That's for sure.
Yeah, we are seeing in Canada anyway, a large sort of interest for British Columbia area and the Northwest Passage. There's more and more people that are expressing that interest. And on one hand, it's good to see. And on the other hand, you worry about it too. What kind of impact it will have on those pristine places that have never been traveled before.
Yes. Yeah, very true. Yeah. As long as people are restored, I guess.
Yeah. And the top 5 most punctual airlines in the world. I've got to hear this.
Yeah. So as one of the most important factors for crew traveling is to get to the yacht as quickly as possible without any delays. Not just yacht crews. It's basically anybody who's going on holiday as well. Delays could potentially be a major issue, though, dependent on whether the yacht is moving location or getting ready for charter. With that in mind, the top 5 airlines for punctuality have been released for October. So if you do have crew traveling over the next month and it's vitally important that they arrive on time, you may want to consider one of the following. So at number 5 was Aero Mexico with an 86% on-time arrival record for October. That's from 17,000 total flights. Number 4 was United Airlines with an on-time arrival record of 86.3%. This from a total of 132,000 flights. Number 3, Qatar Airways, who arrived on time 87.5% of the time from 16,000 flights. And then coming in at runs up, which surprised me, I've got to say, spotted Avianca, the Colombian carrier. He managed to arrive on time 88.7% of the time. And the most on-time airline in the world for October was Delta Airlines, with a very impressive 91% flights arriving on time. And that also is from a whopping total of 141,000 flights. So very impressive indeed from them. It is interesting to know, no European carriers made the top 5 last month. In fact, Iberia were the highest place, coming in at 9th place. And the good news, obviously, from this list is for crew traveling for the Caribbean season, which is coming up, is that all the top 5 have flights into and out of the Caribbean, or connecting flights onwards to the US. So it is good news in that respect for anyone traveling for the Caribbean season.
And I'm actually shocked because both Colombia and Mexico, they're pretty laid back people. As the Spanish speaking people actually in general are pretty chilled out people. If you're half an hour late, you're actually early. And so for them to be in the top 5, kudos.
Yeah, I know. I've got to say, the list did surprise me. I expected Qatar to be there. They're normally pretty good. So I expected those to be there. The US carriers there, yeah, I wouldn't be not totally surprised that they're there. But yeah, the Colombian carriers, Mexican carriers, and only one European carrier in the top 10 did surprise me quite a bit, I've got to say.
I'm pretty disgusted with my country. That's all I have to say.
Unfortunately, where it can.
Canada, get it together. Right? Anyway, moving on. True questions.
Yeah, this is a bit different, I've got to say. It's a question I've never been asked before. Roman has asked whether e-cigarettes are allowed to be taken on board flights. Roman, firstly, I'd just like to say, not really sure about e-cigarettes, in all honesty, mate. But if that's what you're into, good on you. You go for it. First, I'm not going to lie. I had to look this up. as I've never been asked it before, never even thought about it, to be honest with you, as it's completely new. Anyway, the answer is yes. On most carriers, you can, Roman, take an e-cigarette or a vape with you. However, not each airline has the same rule, as I was looking through the rules over the weekend, with regards to what is permitted. For instance, the TSA in the United States advises that vapes are only allowed to be taken as cabin baggage and cannot be checked in. Furthermore, TSA noted that lithium-ion battery must not exceed a watt per hour rating of 100. I have no idea what that means. Or for lithium metal batteries, the lithium content of 2 grams. Again, I have no idea what that means. I'm hoping, Roman, you know what that means and you can follow the rules. The one thing, though, that is unanimous is that e-cigarettes, although okay to transport on flights, cannot be used at any time whilst on board the flight. And that goes across the board, every airline in the world. You cannot smoke an e-cigarette or a vape whilst you're on the plane. But you can carry them.
I think back in 2014, 2015, when they first came out, you could smoke on the plane. You could smoke anywhere. The vape thingies, e-vapes or whatever. I think it took them about 2 years. And then you couldn't. There's specific areas. And actually, it's interesting because in Canada, you have smoking areas. So you have tobacco smoking areas and e-vape smoking areas combined. And then you have marijuana smoking areas.
Okay.
It's the strangest thing. I went back in 2018 and to go into Vancouver Airport and see all these, literally, they've got the sign with the marijuana leaf on it and it's all roped off and that's where you can go and smoke your joint and off you go.
Everyone's nice and relaxed when they go on their flight.
That's why Canada didn't make it in the top 5 this year.
Maybe. They've all been hanging around that corner a little bit too much, haven't they? Even the pilots, by the sound of it. The only thing I would say, actually, when I was doing a research for this, with regards to this, Roman, actually, thank you for the question, because it was a question I've never been asked before. But I was amazed to read so many news stories with regards to the lithium batteries or the iron batteries. I don't know if they explode or what they do, but actually burning up when they're on board the planes, in the cabins. It wasn't just like 1 or 2. There was like 10, 15, 20 news articles I was reading with regards to these iron and lithium batteries. I was really shocked. It's something I didn't know. So anyway, Roman, if you're taking it on there, just be very careful.
Yeah. Aside from the health benefits, right? We're worried about a vape pen exploding or heating up and starting a fire. It's okay if it's starting a fire in your lung. Not that I should lecture anyone, but I'm just saying. There is
each their own. If that's what you want to do, you go for it. Knock yourself out.
Right, Lee. As usual, it has been an absolute pleasure. And we do have to reiterate that if anybody has any crew questions out there, please do feel free to drop Lee a line. And if it can wait the week, we'll talk about it next week. And if it can't, he'll answer it right away.
Indeed, I will. I'll do my best anyway.
There is Google.
There is. Yeah. I'm not quite as fast as Google, unfortunately.
Lee, thank you again.
No, my pleasure. Absolutely enjoyed it again. But yeah, looking forward to next week.
You have been watching another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I have been your host with Lee Harris of ATPI Travel. We'll see you again next week.